All right. If you can start off by saying and spelling your first and last name and giving us your title.
Yes, Becky Massey, Becky Massey. I'm state senator representing Knox County.
All right. So we'll kind of start off with this. We won't start off with the priorities, but we will start off with something that I feel like you know a lot about and are probably passionate about this. Choice lanes. Do you?
Yes.
I know we're getting some, or there's been a proposed choice lane in Knox County. Do you think that's necessary?
Well, let's put it this way. We have the highest average daily traffic count in the state of Tennessee, and the traffic and actually a lot of the road projects in Tennessee with our current income stream, had we not done anything, it would have kids in high school would have been senior citizens by the time we addressed those. So that was the Transportation Modernization Act, which is making a dent in it, and it helps leverage our dollars. So choice lanes is a part of that. And the first one, it looks like, is going to go to the Nashville area. We have one identified through Knoxville. They're still going to be studying it. And probably if it does weigh out for an investor to come in and do a choice lane here in Knox County, it would probably at least be 10 years before we see something. So I will continue to work on other traffic mitigation problems to kind of help alleviate our challenges here.
Okay, and so this next term, what are your priorities?
Well, there's several. There's a couple of pieces of legislation that I worked on last year that either we didn't get funded or we just needed some more time to work on it. One of those is, childcare is one of the biggest challenges in getting folks into the workforce, both having accessible, enough childcare, having it affordable, and having it being of quality. And a couple of years ago, I sponsored a bill that we did a deep dive looking at the child care issue. And so, what this piece of legislation does is similar to the Tennessee Promise. It's called Promising Futures. And what it would do would be last dollar scholarships for child care for certain people in certain income brackets. And we look at trying to fund that through some of the sports betting money, the revenue from that. But it really is an education piece so we can get folks in quality childcare at the same time helping folks be able to work. So that's definitely one that I'm going to be working on. Another one is elder financial abuse. There's like an exorbitant amount. I think it's over $500 million at least that is identified that's been stolen from seniors annually in Tennessee, and over 50% of that is from family members they know or people they know. So we had a bill last year. We've adjusted a little bit, which would set up a call center with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And then they would hire some folks that would be a part of the TBI in each of the regions of the state that so they could respond quickly to some of these suspected elder financial abuse situations. Like if they're at a bank and they're wanting to withdraw $200,000 of their money, like immediately, situations like that. So that's something that I feel like is really very important. And I've been working with Director David Roush at TBI, who most of our folks in Knoxville remember was our police chief, and others to try to get that one across the finish line. The two others that I'll be working on, last year we passed a law called Abriel's Law, which helped in child abuse and domestic violence situations that would end up in custody hearings in court, and trying to give the judiciary and the folks that worked with them a little bit more training and identified really where is a safe home and safe parent to put them with, and whether it needs to be supervised or unsupervised. And we didn't quite get it. We passed a version of it last year with training, but we're really wanting to make that even stronger because there's situations where children are being put back with an abusive parent, or the older child who was abused is not put back with them, but a younger child is. So we're trying to really strengthen that, and so we'll be working on that piece of legislation. And I guess lastly would be, I'm working with Representative Zachary on clarifying our duty to report when someone is in with a psychiatrist, psychologist, or medical or other medical professionals, if they are threatening to kill someone and they have the means and everything, just who do they report it to? How is it reported? And basically, so the end game is to get that person the help they need. It's to make the resources available and to be able to get them into those kind of resources quickly. So those are probably the top four that I'll be working on, along with making sure the Modernization Act for transportation is implemented in a proper fashion.
Okay, and this will just be a quick funny story, and then I'll ask you another question about childcare and financial elder abuse here in a second. But
Sure.
you mentioned Director Roush, and
Yes.
there's one piece of video that we shot years ago, and anytime he is brought up, anytime I see him on camera, I think about this piece of video because when he was police chief, he was KPD was doing some type of community policing with the students at Austin East and was doing some fun things with the students there. And he got into a dance competition with one of them. And like just seeing him dance and like kind of rub his bald head, it cracks me up every time. And that's
You may have to text me a clip of it
yeah,
because I'd like to see that.
I'll see if I can find it. Like it was great stuff that he was doing here, but that video is one of the videos that always sticks out to me because it was when I
Well,
started here.
he is an amazing person and really, really genuinely cares about our community and the issues that a lot of the challenges we have. It's not just a job. He takes things very personal. You know, he's had folks that he knows that have gone through some of these issues, and he is a sincere, down to earth person as you can ever meet. So I love working with him on issues. And he actually, the first year I got elected, he called me up and said, "Hey Becky, can you pass this pawn shop bill?" And immediately, it's never been able to be passed, but can you pass it? And we mediated it, got all the folks around the table, and by golly, we passed it unanimously. So,
Well,
so
and
we
like
go ahead.
he's still one of the only police chiefs in my career. We held a KPD held a press conference. He's the only police chief that I've ever seen tear up with what he was talking about at a press conference. So I feel like that really showed the type of person that he was.
It
Not
doesn't
that,
surprise me.
yeah, not that the other police chiefs haven't been like it's nothing against them, but that was just the first time, and that story was very sad. But seeing
Yeah.
him do that kind of brought that human part, and you're like, oh, that's right. He's not just a police chief.
Well, we're lucky to have him in here in Tennessee serving us. And I know I did a long run on, for all the different priorities, but I know you can edit them to get them to the point where it's not, you can separate them out.
Oh, for sure. And the one question I was going to ask you was childcare and financial elder abuse fraud.
Hmm.
Why are those two topics so important to you?
Well, first, a lot of times people will bring you issues, and there's some things that you maybe never thought about, just like elder financial abuse. I didn't realize how big a problem it was. It makes sense that you hear about elderly people being scammed, but these are being scammed by people they know, a good portion. I mean, a lot of it, I think of the 50% that they know, I think 70% is substance abuse related. So, you bring that, they bring awareness to you as a legislator. And so I worked with our Aaron Bradley at our area office on aging, and they've had a task force that's kind of worked on it. And I've gone, Senator Briggs and I've both been meeting with them. And so this is just something that, I don't like any vulnerable people being preyed upon, especially coming from my background working with people with disabilities. So this was kind of a natural, and it's just, there's a, it's not going to solve everything, but if we can give like the financial institutions some more tools in combating it, the better. And if we can even cut it by 25%, hopefully more, I don't think we're going to totally eliminate it, but if we can help with the situation, I think that's my time well spent in trying to get this legislation passed. The child care was similar situation. I mean, it's a statewide organization asked me to carry the child care task force bill a couple of years ago. And oftentimes when, as a legislature, you carry these task force, you kind of let the professionals and the people that are put on the task force do all the meetings, and you feel like you've done your work. But I try to attend these meetings when I've had a role in sponsoring it. And these were so fascinating. I think I attended almost all of them. I had to, from other commitments, I had to miss a couple. But really learning about the challenges and the loss, I think it's like $2 billion of lost economic impact from lack of childcare in Tennessee. So it really is not only, something that helps with our families, but it helps our businesses who have been, especially after COVID, were so devastated in the workforce. And there's not hardly an industry that doesn't need employees. So I think this is a way I can help our businesses and help our families, and then help these children that would go to childcare to make sure they're safe and that they're being stimulated at it. So it's just something that I learned more about through participating in those task force meetings.
All right. Thank you for taking the time out to do this.
You're welcome. So you got any other plans for the rest of the week? Just working all these bills and things?
Yeah, just working, and this was I'll hit stop so producers don't have to go through